I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft, and this is my balloon. Today's question comes to us from Rick, who wants to know what I think about the distinction between high and low art. Now, the first thing that must be understood about this distinction is that it's rather arbitrary. Indeed, it's not written in stone, as it often is projected to be, and any notions we have about what is considered highbrow or lowbrow comes to us through context and centuries of very specific incidences. Let's take, for example, theatre. Much of what we understand about theatre comes from the Renaissance, and indeed we can see a particular divergence in the Italian Renaissance between commedia dell'arte and commedia erudita. The commedia dell'arte, of course, was that bawdy street theatre full of colourful stock characters and all sorts of licentious goings-ons, and we see its roots in modern-day sitcoms or sketch comedy or burlesque or the entire works of Andrew Lloyd Webber. Whereas a commedia erudita, the comedy of scholars, was attempting to recreate classical Roman theatre and present it to an intelligent, educated, and above all, wealthy audience. Now, it was just as bawdy, just as licentious, but because it was sold to a higher crowd, it had that veneer of respectability and would eventually inspire what we think of today as the higher arts of opera. And so, we come now to the modern age, and there's a certain discomfort I think we have with discussing art as either high or low, for fear of appearing too snobbish. But I say, why not be snobbish? Some art is inherently better. I know I spent my entire life eschewing the idea of selling my art or making it respectable for the lower orders, and indeed I wanted to create art for myself, not to be commercially successful. And yet, of course, I found most of my success, and indeed most of my literary legacy, comes from my work in the pulps, which were about as populous and lowbrow as you can find. So, what I'm saying is that these distinctions are incredibly arbitrary, and indeed we make of them what we can by trying to find the art that appeals to us, and in so doing, we define art for ourselves. And what's most important is that we don't allow ourselves to be so trapped in our own tastes, trapped in our own limited experiences, that we miss out on the breadth of art that exists around us. If you find yourself only watching films about superheroes, take a moment and consider going to see an opera. If all you do is listen to classical radio, then perhaps take a moment and seek out something a little bawdier, a little stranger, something you might find mucking about in the dirt. That is where we enrich our lives, by diversifying and seeking the best art in all its variations. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go spend some time with my balloon. As always, I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft.